All right, let's move on to part 4.
Part 4.
Stafford goes to the Rams.
Right. January, I guess, is when all this Trey Lance stuff happened. And this is when Trey Lance was identified. Mm-hmm. So Trey Lance is out there, MDSU, and remember, they're sitting at 12 at this point. So at what point is it now we need to move up to 3 to get Trey Lance? Yes. If that is what it was the entire time. Even though when you listen to that podcast, he talked glowingly about Mac. That's the stuff that I
yes,
like,
he
when
did.
Yeah, I was just like,
well, you know how I feel. You know what I think. My interpretation of what happened.
Go for it.
My interpretation of what happened is that Kyle's first choice was Mac. His second choice was Lance. He liked both of them, and the Niners front office for choices were flipped, and the whole no on Mac Jones thing took on a life of its own, and it was just that you couldn't do it. So I don't know. I feel like part of him is a little salty, and down the line could ultimately be like, "See, this is what I'm saying about him," but. He rode the fence. He capitulated and took Trey Lance, and maybe he could claim credit for that too. But that's how I feel about that.
I think Mike Shanahan really liked Mac. Yes. Especially with with the way that he thinks about the way quarterback play is, and Mike, and we all know that Mike's involved in this process, whether people want to believe it or not. So he doesn't technically work for the 49ers. It was like the
Shanahans against the world. It was the Shanahans, Tupac against the world, pretty much. That was it.
And they were about to. It sounded like, from everything that people were saying, if you want to believe those reports, if you do, I don't, but if you want to believe them, that they were going to try to make a move that makes them sound smarter than you or smarter than anybody else, and watch me win with this, traditional pocket passer or whatever. Fine. So the Trey Lance thing, it happens after the trade up. But I guess the point that we're trying to get to here, now that we've been talking for 20 minutes, is how can Jimmy be the guy when you've literally turned over every single rock? And don't give me the whole, you should be looking to improve every position all the time. Starting quarterback is different. If you're Jimmy Garoppolo, and now this last thing comes out now about him definitely wanting Stafford, how do you feel right now? Do you feel wanted? He can say all the generic quotes he wants in a press conference about, hey, we're in contact, boom, 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 whatever. That's got to be something that's either in the back of his mind or in the front of his mind. And it's weird to me because there will be people that will argue with you till they're blue in the face about, just beefing up the room, whatever. Jimmy kind of gets hurt. That's it. They've been trying to move away from Jimmy Garoppolo since the 2019 Super Bowl.
Yeah, the pro-Jimmy crowd will have you believe that the Niners were in the market for a backup quarterback this offseason.
Wait a minute. One more thing. One more report that I feel like gets glossed over, and I think that this kind of goes in line with him drafting a rookie quarterback. Yeah. Kyle Shanahan definitely wanted Andy Dalton. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely wanted Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's cheaper, and then you pair him with the rookie, and boom, you're good.
That's a bridge quarterback. That's a bridge
quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah, not a $26 million bridge quarterback. A $8 million quarterback. Perfect. That's a bridge quarterback.
Yes.
So what are we saying? This is the point. How can Jimmy Garoppolo go into this season now without thinking about this and having this? Look, they wanted to make their backup. Their QB better.
They wanted to spend $80 million on a position where you can only play one guy at a time. That was the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan to beef up the room. Beef the room up. That's it. No.
I saw that on Twitter today. I'm not even going to name who said it, but wow, today beefing up the room. Nah. They're trying to. That's like if my wife caught me on Tinder talking to every single girl in Oakland. I'm like, I'm just trying to meet friends. I just trying to meet people. It's not even like that, babe. Nah, it's really like that. You can't do that.
Nope. And again, this isn't speculation. These are things that coach has said, and it's documented at this point. This isn't, us running with the narrative. This is what it is. And you can't sit there and tell me that they turned over all these stones and believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy. So then it forces them to make a power move, which they even admitted that they overpaid for Trey Lance. They admitted, they were like, it might have been a bit of an overpay, but we had to get our guy. So you are super desperate to get away from this quarterback right now. And it's clear that Kyle Shanahan is fed up, and he's been fed up. And
you can't even look at Jimmy Garoppolo in the face anymore. I can't even see you anymore.
They can say all the right things. They can say all the right things in the world that they want. Like I said last night on Sprint Right Option, the writing's on the wall, but it's written in spray paint. It's graffitied on the wall. And I don't see how anybody else could see it anything other than this when it's all documented this way.
The only reason there's a misperception, in my opinion, is because Jimmy Garoppolo is so professional and won't complain. He's just going to say, you know what, I'm going to be quiet and look like I'm taking the high road and get out of here eventually. Most 9 out of 10 athletes would complain at this point. Aaron Rodgers would. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's just not what Jimmy's going to do. And I think that's creating a misperception. Like, well, Jimmy's still all in. Nah. Jimmy's chilling in Chicago waiting to get the text that he's gone. And he'll show up to training camp, but he's not going to do anything extra. Nah.
At what point does Jimmy Garoppolo just request a trade?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he feels like it would tarnish his brand to do something like that. He's supposed to be team first Jimmy. So I think he's going to do everything privately.
So he'll request it privately. Like,
yes.
He won't go in the media, but he's going to request it. I don't think that how could you want to?
Who's to say he hasn't even vetoed trades already? Like the Niners have tried to send him to Houston, and he was like, "Nah, son, not going to do that. Not going to Houston."
The problem is that now that we're in July 8th, and if this request does go through, where do you go? Where could you go at this point? So look, Washington, let's go down the line. Washington,
nope.
But I would argue that right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, when he's upright and not Fitztragic, is a better quarterback throwing the ball down the field and has a longer track record.
He can move better than Jimmy Garoppolo. How about that?
So how about that? I'm not sure that I'm ready to say wholeheartedly that Ryan Fitzpatrick is immediately better than Jimmy Garoppolo or is the better quarterback. But I know what I've seen when he's right. And last year he had a career high in completion percentage. And remember, he got pulled, for Tua, and they brought him back in, and he still was rolling with that Miami Dolphins team. So I don't think that Washington's in. Okay, Denver. Why would Denver make a move now for Jimmy Garoppolo when they already have a guy in his tier, Teddy, and they have a guy who, let's just see what happens with Drew Lock if if they find something cool. If not, that's a whiff. Houston still has Deshaun Watson on their books. Tyrod Taylor is there, and we all know the book on Tyrod Taylor and the story about him. He's going to start the first 3 games, and someone else is going to come in behind him and start, whether that's Davis Mills, whether that's somebody else. So Houston is kind of intriguing, right? Casario's there. There's a little bit, but it's too much money to put on your books at this point. Remember, they signed Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay. I'm not certain what their cap situation is, but that's a lot to invest in 2 quarterbacks, especially one that could very well land himself on the exemption list, the exempt list, something like that with Deshaun Watson, because we still don't know what's going on. A lot of that talk has been not squashed, but nobody's talking about it. There's been no sort of criminal charges, anything like that. But that's not to say that the NFL doesn't have something to say about it. So you still have to see how that plays out. So let's just say for right now, the Houston room is Tyrod Taylor and Davis Mills. Tyrod Taylor is a placeholder. That's the ultimate bridge quarterback is Tyrod Taylor. Anywhere he goes, it's literally to warm the seat up for the guy behind him. Mm-hmm. So if Jimmy Garoppolo asks for a trade, where?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there might be certain teams that could be interested in him. I would imagine Houston is interested. But how many teams is Jimmy interested? Because even though he seems like he has no leverage, he has a no trade clause. So if the Niners are like, oh, Jimmy, Denver's going to give us a 2nd-round pick for you. Jimmy's like, hey, I'm not going to Denver. I don't care. Cut me. Because to me, I feel like from Jimmy's perspective, who cares about the money? He has $90 million. He's almost 30. He needs to go to an environment that believes in him and nurtures him. And to me, there's one. There's only one. And he loves Bill Belichick. And I get the impression that Bill Belichick loves him. I know they have Mac Jones now, but I feel like if he were to be cut, he might sign some real team-friendly deal to go back and play for them, for the Patriots. That's what I think is going to happen. And that's why I think the Niners' problem is you got the only team that really wants him and the only place that Jimmy Garoppolo really wants to go, and they know that they don't really have to play ball with the Niners. Like, just cut him, or we'll offer you a 7th-round pick. How about that?